We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you if I don't say the words that make...
Good morning, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is those were the days where I hand over the reins to the very capable and very experienced one-eyed naval architect, George Mitchell. How are you, George?
I'm fine, Steve. What an introduction. It's a good job my son's not listening, because he used to say to people when I was introduced as a naval architect, when he was younger, he used to say, "Remember who designed the Titanic?"
Oh, you've got the door. Oh, I'm going to go to the ad so you can go and get the door.
Okay.
A big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find out more about them from their website, mrvickies.co.uk, or by calling 01768 210 102. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things. And thanks to United Group Travel, UK coach holiday firm based in Morpeth. There's no strangers on their tours, just people you haven't met yet. They're now taking bookings for 2024. You can call 01670 632 460, 0791 666 4174, or 07957 141 654. Or go to the website unitedgrouptravel.com. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button underneath the video today. We still do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up under the video to like it. It does us a big favour. Click share to share to your other social media and let people know about NUFC Matters. We're also a podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify and other podcast providers. If you want to help the show financially, you can take out a £25 one-off membership. You get a scarf, a pen, a cup, and a membership card. How do you get it? Go to nufcmatters.com, look for membership. If you've got a smartphone, then put your smartphone over the QR code and it will take you straight to that section on the website. We also support the food bank on this channel. You can donate to the food bank today by going to nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. We do support events on this channel as well. If you've got an event, please send it in and we'll promote it. The Tyne Theatre and Opera House are doing a Keegan, Beardsley and Waddle event, the Class of 84, 25th of January 2024. Book now by calling 0844 249 1000. And the Tyneside Irish Centre, they're doing an event with Frank Clark and John Gibson on Thursday, December the 7th. You can get tickets from nufcmatters.com and they are priced at £15. There's also some tickets available on Groupon. Don't forget, you can catch me 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, with Rye, Dave and Daz on the Northeast Footy Brekkie Show, 7 till 9, and you can catch us on the Red, the Toon and the Cat and on Toon Radio's website. WhatsApp us on the day 0330 043 2002. The perfect way to start your day. And just a reminder that for the Frank Clark event, the match will be shown on that night. So those people who are thinking, oh, well, I'd rather watch the Everton game, Frank and Gibbo are going to come on pre-match, half-time and post-match. So well worth getting along to watch a match with a Tyne legend. Go on, George.
Interesting that the knock at the front door was football related as well. It's my grandson coming to pick up his ticket for Bournemouth, which I got. So
good stuff. All right, what year are we going back to, George?
First year back in the Premiership, 93-94, Steve.
Over to you.
Yeah, thank you. And just a personal note is the intro music. If anybody's listening to it, it's a good one for me because my Marjorie loved that music. So it's a good way to start my day. Right, here we go. 93-94. What was happening elsewhere? Well, in music terms, Madonna was top with deeper and deeper. Whole New World. The theme from the Aladdin picture was there. Prince was there. It's with Seven. Ordinary World. Duran. I'm Every Woman. Whitney Houston. Quite a range of very, very well-known songs in the top. And the films. Well, the films were swamped that year with Aladdin. An animation that topped the number one films for 7 months out of the 12, and the only one that got into the top was Few Good Men, which is another brilliant film. So that's the world outside of football. That's what was happening, and the new Leazes stand was opening, so that increased attendances by over 20%. And also, people had got used to the Keegan mantra that if they score 3, we score 4, sort of thing. and so people were quite excited how that would work in the Premiership. And just to show that typical Keegan, he never started a season without a stir. Coming in, we had Peter Beardsley, Nikos Pavloslu, the Greek, Alex Matthew, Alan Malcolm, Malcolm Allen, yeah. Richard Appleby, Mike Hooper, Meg Jeffrey, Chris Holland, Rule Fox, and Darren Peacock. Quite an array in, but just as big an array out, of course. Some of them very big names: David Kelly, Alan Thompson, which I think sad that he disappeared too soon, but he couldn't behave himself. But never mind, allegedly. Tommy Wright, David Roach, and Killer Klein went, despite the fact he really saved our skin. Liam O'Brien, another sad loss. Kevin Scott went to Tottenham, and Darren McDonough. So typical Keegan starting the season with a bang in every way. And typical Newcastle start the season with a pile of friendlies, as always. They started at Hartlepool, and then one at Berwick Rangers, then a friendly at Rangers itself. Actually, I think the Berwick Rangers one has got a they actually produced that program, which is quite nice. Rangers, then Gateshead, Scunthorpe United, and then Liverpool at Liverpool. So good range of games to get warmed up. And our first match was at Tottenham. It was Tottenham at home, rather, and it promised to be quite an event. Tottenham were riding high. You know, they look like contenders again. Is what I think what I'm trying to say, and. They started with Torsfeldt in goal, Dean Austin, Saul Campbell, Colin Calderwood, Steve Sledgley, Gary Mabbott, Jason Drozell, David Howells, and Vinnie Samways, Gordon Jury, and Sheringham, Teddy Sheringham, and they were a real football side. 35,000 at St James's Park. And of course with the reduced numbers, that was nearly a full house, but still a good crowd, and all expectations high that we might start the season on a victory. Keegan's first team that year was Cernichuk, Kevin Scott, Barry Venison, Steve Howie, John Beresford, Paul Bracewell, Lee Clark, Rob Lee, Nicholas Papazavlu, Malcolm Allen, and Andy Cole. And on the subs bench, John Burridge. We started slowly, is the only way to describe it, and unfortunately too slowly, because by the time we woke up on 36 minutes, Teddy Sheringham had put Spurs 1-up. Despite it being an attractive game, end-to-end stuff, it never looked like anybody was ever going to score again, and it didn't. That's how it ended. It ended it with a 1-0 to Spurs. So our next game was away to Coventry, and a game normally we would like to win. Coventry always have quite attractive programs, I think, but never mind. Keegan changed one or two of the team. Cernicek, Watson, John Beresford was in off the bench. Venison, Scott, Bracewell, Rob Lee, Liam O'Brien, Andy Cole, and Lee Clark. And 16,000 at Highfield Road. And we're hopeful that we might get a victory here. But being a Newcastle fan, it doesn't pay to hope too hard, because even with Keegan in charge, we struggled in this game. This wasn't one of our better games. Coventry team, Gold in goal, Peter Atherton, Phil Barbeck's Liverpool, Steve Morgan, Sean Flynn, Tony Sheridan, Roy Wiggery, who they got from Nottingham Forest, and a certain Mickey Quinn as leading our line, who they got from us earlier in the previous season. Highfield Road was never a very big ground, but 16,000 in made it look big. But we flat out to deceive in this one. We went ahead on an own goal on 22 minutes, and it looked like we might get a 1-0 victory. But Peter Nedvu, the dangerous forward, and then Mick Harford on 58 and 85 minutes give Coventry a victory they deserved, because we never looked like we were going to win this game, in all honesty. But so we got what we deserved, I think, out of that on a 2-1 loss. Next game was a game which always excites Newcastle fans, certainly excites me, and that's Manchester United, and it's at Old Trafford, and 42,000 at the game at Old Trafford, and Keegan sends an unchanged team: Cernicek, Watson, Beresford, Venison, Scott, Bracewell, Lee, O'Brien, Andy Cole, Lee Clark, and Papavazlu. And not surprisingly, with it being where it was, they really give this one a go. They couldn't praise them more, because all the pundits, there wasn't a pundit that didn't think that we would get a tank in it this one, having made such a poor start. But that wasn't to be, and Manchester United, of course, riding high. I love this publication. I get some of the stuff off, who loves to give everybody their full names, you know. Sir Alec Ferguson, CBE, by Jove. Peter Schmeichel, Peter Boleslow Schmeichel in goal. Paul Parker, Stephen Roger Bruce in the back line, Gary Andrew Pallister, Joseph Dennis Irwin, Ryan Joseph Giggs, Paul Emerson Ince. It's amazing. I don't know. They must look at their birth certificates when they're writing this. Keane, Roy Keane, Brian Robson, and Mark Hughes. I mean, that's a glittering array of names, and anybody facing that lot would feel daunted. Well, our lot didn't feel daunted. They really give it a go. Sadly, on 40 minutes, they let Ryan Giggs free, and he typical dribble and slot in the bottom corner from him. But the lads kept going, and don't know what Keegan said to them a hard time, but they didn't just come out and defend. They really had a go. And on 70 minutes, none other than Andy Cole scored an equaliser. And from then on, we could have stinked it because the lads really did give it a go. So not only was that a good draw, it showed the fans that we weren't going to be lying down for anybody in this one. So a good game and a good result. Next game is Everton at home, and we hoping that on the back of that Manchester United result, we might get something out of this one. And Keegan feels an unchanged team, which you would expect with a result like that. 35,000 at the game, and Everton come with their all-star team at the time: Neville Southall, Gary Ablett, Andy Hinchcliffe, Paul Holmes, Matt Jackson, Peter Beagrie, John Eberle, Graham Stewart, dangerous Scottish centre forward, Mark Ward, Tony Cotty, really dangerous attacking midfielder, and Paul Rideout, another one who you'd have to watch all the time, just to keep it on your toes. It's a good game, end-to-end stuff, and it's a one that could go either way, the way they're playing. We have to bring Malcolm Allen on as a substitute, and very early because of an injury. And lo and behold, he's no sooner on the pitch than he makes it 1-0. 18 minutes, Malcolm Allen puts us 1-0 in the lead. And that's how it stayed. Although it was entertaining, woodwork hit and all that sort of thing, it never looked like anybody was going to score again. And so we ran out 1-0 winners. But that was... that was what mattered to the Gallagher corner. Is what I'm trying to say. That everybody was really pleased after the Manchester result that we got points on the board in the Premiership, and we settled in about 14th position in the league, which is no disgrace for a promoted team. Next game is Blackburn Rovers at home. Now, everybody thinks, well, haven't got the points against the previous team. We'd get them against Blackburn. Well, it wasn't that easy. We played well, and they played well, but of course the championships material, Blackburn, and have a certain centre forward called Shearer who's going to take some looking after. Our team unchanged from the previous week. 35,000 at the game again, and Blackburn Rovers, Bobby Mims, Patrick Anderson, Hendrik Berry, Nick Marker, David May, big centre half, Graham Lasso, who they got from Chelsea, Stuart Ripley, ex-Borough man, Tim Sherwood, who's you can't get him off the telly at the moment, Jess Wilcox, Kevin Gallagher, who we get to know even better in Newcastle, and Mike Newell. A very, very, very tidy team. But no Alan Shearer. He was on the bench coming back from an injury. And lo and behold, it's a 0-0 at half time. Entertaining game, some good football, but nobody looked like scoring. And on the hour, Andy Cole slots in an opener for us from very close range, but typical Andy Cole. He sneaks in while the defenders are still looking for the ball and puts the 1-0 up. Then they make a substitution, and he's no sooner on the pitch than the very same Alan Shearer on 75 minutes makes it 1-1. From then on, it was an excellent game of football. Anybody there would enjoy it because typical Keegan, we didn't just defend the draw. We went for it, and they did as well. I mean, they wanted to win just as much as we did, because they were managed by none other than Kenny Dalglish at that time. Yeah, both teams went for it, and it was a very creditable 1-1 draw, but a good game of football. Next, we're away to Ipswich Town at Portman Road. 20,000 at the game, and Kevin Keegan sends his same unchanged team down to Portman Road. Only changes are on the subs bench with Liam O'Brien and Alan Nielsen as the subs. And the lads give it a go. And indeed, not only give it a go, on 47 minutes, that very same man, Andy Cole, again, slots a one in from the edge of the penalty area. And we'll go in just ahead. However, 77 minutes, Ipswich forward Chris Kuomwa, who's always a dangerous player, manages to get them an equaliser. Ipswich team, notable names for us were of course Paul Goddard, who was their captain on that day. Steve Whitten and John Walk, very dangerous forwards, and but 1-1 it stayed after that 77-minute goal by Chris Kuomwa, but an entertaining game. Ipswich always an entertaining side, and I'm saying Paul Goddard was captain. Not only captain, he was actually player manager that day as well, because he was managing the team on that particular occasion. However, it still keeps us going, and we're 13th in the league now. We're slowly but surely clawing our way up, and we're at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Now, Sheffield Wednesday aren't doing that much at this time, and people expect we'd get a victory, and so we're looking forward to this game. At least most people were. 34,000 at the game. Keegan changes the goalkeeper. Tommy Wright goes in goal because I think Pav's got an injury. Otherwise, the team's unchanged. Puts Alec Matthew on the subs bench for the first time, and it's an entertaining game. Andy Cole on 21 minutes. Andy Stinton from Sheffield Wednesday equalises. Then the same Andy Sinton just after half time makes it 2-1, and we're struggling to get into the match. But Andy Cole makes it the equaliser on 76, and then Alex Matthew comes on as sub and scores almost as soon as he comes on at 81 minutes. And then Malcolm Allen makes it 4-2, and we run out easy 4-2 winners. But it was tougher than people expected. That Sheffield Wednesday put up far sterner resistance than people thought they would. Next game is away to Swindon Town, and Swindon are a tidy football side, but they shouldn't be threatening us. They shouldn't be in a position to threaten us, and it looks that way. Lee Clark is in the side. same team: Tommy Wright, Watson, Beresford, Venison, Scott Bracewell, Robert Lee, Lee Clark, Andy Cole, Peter Beardsley, and Malcolm Allen. And Peter Beardsley coming in after just being signed. 16,000 at the game, which is a good crowd for Swindon. And we're skating it. 37 minutes Lee Clark, 45 minutes right on half time, Malcolm Allen. So we go in at half time 2-0 up. And Swindon, who are managed now by John Gorman, the Scottish international goalkeeper. They play good football. I mean, Glenn Hoddle had left them in a position where they had lots of talented youngsters. And Fraser Digby in goal. One name that's worth mentioning is Paul Bowden, who we get to know much more later on. And then they had Mickey Hazard, who yes, he's on his way down from Chelsea, but still a talented player. John Monkern, Nick Summerby, and Faircroft, the Norwegian centre forward, and Andy Much playing upside him. After half time, don't know what Swindon had in their tea, but they tore us apart after half time. It ended up with Martin Ling and Andy Much equalised on 60 and 61 minutes. But by the end of that game, it was backs to the wall. Newcastle were having to defend like heroes to keep a 2-2 draw, having gone right in the lead at a crucial moment. But we got the draw, and that's all that matters. Next game is a home game against Notts County, but it's in the League Cup, second round of the League Cup, and we haven't made progress in this trophy for a while, and that's a familiar story for Newcastle fans, sadly. Pav's fit and he's back in the team, otherwise it's an unchanged team. 26,000 at the game, and Notts County come with Mick Walker is the manager, ex-player, and sort of Notts County dyed-in-the-wool character. Their team, some familiar names: Steve Cherry in goal, Mark Draper up front, Gary McSwiggan. It was a dangerous attacking midfielder, and Robbie Turner on the right side of the attack, another dangerous player. The games starts off with a bang because from a corner, Pav manages to punch the ball into his own net, and so Notts County start with a 16-minute opener. Just on 30 minutes, Andy Cole manages to slot in an equaliser. So we go in 1-1 with the... I remember how nervous the Gallagher corner was at that, thinking that, is this another banana skin? But they needn't have worried, because after half-time, out comes Andy Cole and completes a hat-trick. 54 minutes, 63 minutes, 2 peaches of goals. My memory is both good shots from the edge of the area, the bottom corner of the net, and then finished on 75 minutes with a Paul Bracewell free kick, which nobody was going to get. So a 4-1 victory in that first leg of the League Cup against Notts County. Next game's a home game in the league to West Ham, and again another side that plays good football. 35,000 again, the crowd back up to where it would expect it to be. West Ham with a good reputation for football, managed by Billy Bonds, their ex-player, a man with a big reputation in football, and of course related to the Lampards and all of the the other Harry Redknapp. They're all interrelated and intermarried. But he's got a good side with some good names: Kenny Brown, Steve Potts, Tony Gale, Ian Bishop, Dale Gordon, Mick Marsh, and Lee Chapman, big blonde centre forward, who was always a trouble whenever he played us. We're looking good on this one. It's an entertaining end-to-end stuff, and it stays nil at half time. And I've got to say, I haven't been at the match. I don't know how it stayed nil at half time, because it was end to end, and the only thing people didn't do was put the ball in the net. However, it changed after half time, and who could we rely on to change it but none other than Andy Cole? On 53 minutes, he opens the scoring. 84 minutes, he seals the scoring, and we get a good 2-0 victory over West Ham. And an entertaining game. There's no doubt about that. Next, we're away to Aston Villa. Now, the Villa are being tipped for big things. Nice picture of Dean Saunders on there. That's who that is, who we have associations with. Aston Villa, some names of people, characters that might remember. Nigel Spink, the goalkeeper, always had lots to say for himself. Steve Staunton, ex-Liverpool. Paul McGrath, ex-Manchester United. Gordon Cowans, a lovely midfielder whose career was shortened by injury. I think Gordon Cowans would have been in England international for a long time if he hadn't been injured. But Kevin Richardson, who we know from in another club not far away from us. Andy Townsend, who again we hear a lot on radio and television. Guy Whittingham, who was a dangerous player. And of course, the man on that picture, Dean Saunders, who was the main attacker, the main goal scorer. 38,000 at the game, and we're up to 6th in the league, so a win would be great. And entertaining game, end-to-end stuff. 0-0 at half time. And after half time, I don't know what Keegan said to them, but they just tore Aston Villa apart. And on 46 minutes, just after half time, Malcolm Allen scores with a penalty. Andy Cole having been brought down as he was about to score. And then on 80 minutes, Andy Cole himself seals the victory. And we sail to a 2-0 win, which is a good win, because Villa are up there with everybody else challenging. The only change in our team was that Mike Hooper went in goal because of a series of injuries, which left Pav and Tommy Wright both on the bench. But a good victory, and pushing up the league where we want to be. So it's our return game next with Notts County in the second round of the League Cup. Well, we've got a 4-1 lead, so surely this is going to be we go forward from here. And Keegan sends a full strength team. He doesn't mess about. The same team that played in the league, and 7,000 at the county ground, Meadow Lane, and well, it's an annihilation basically. Malcolm Allen 12, 35 minutes. Peter Beardsley 44 minutes. Andy Cole 59, 62, 82. And in between, Gary McSwiggan gets consolation for them. And Rob Lee, 85, seals a 7-1 victory for Newcastle United, which is not to be sneezed at, even at Notts County. And the entertainers tags starting to stick now, the way that we're playing. And of course, we come back to a home game in the league with Queen's Park Rangers. Tidy football side, some dangerous players, unchanged team. Mike Cooper stays in goal, and 34,500 at the game. Referee Keith Hackett, there's a name to conjure with anybody that's been around a while. He was a controversial character. One of the referees that would open his mouth, though, Keith Hackett. They're all play dumb, but Keith Hackett would actually have something to say, and it got him into all sorts of bother. But I think that part of the nice things about him. Playing well, good game, and we look like we're heading to. We've got a good chance of a win here, but unfortunately for us, Queen's Park Rangers have a forward called Les Ferdinand in the front line, and he's given our defenders some stick. And on 10 minutes, a corner, and he's left unmarked, and bang, header into the bottom corner, which nobody could have stopped. It was like a bullet going into the bottom of the bottom corner. So we go in 1-0 down. Remember the disquiet in the Gallagher corner, thinking, well, we're doing so well, and all of a sudden QPR come and we don't look so good. Anyway, we come out, and hopes are rise when Malcolm Allen in 48 minutes makes it 1-1. But our joy didn't last very long, because Bradley Allen in the QPR side on 50 minutes makes it 2-1 to them. And after that, QPR just battened down the hatches and went home with a 2-1 win. We just couldn't break them down. It's a bit disappointing, but that's how it went. That's how we were. So the next game is an away game at Southampton. It's a one people have been around a while, remember, because of one man, Matt Le Tissier. Matt Le Tissier gave us a real run around that night. It was a horrible game at the ground. I remember it was muddy, and he 13,800 at the Dell. We went with an unchanged team, and it looked like we may get something out of this game. Well, we would have done, except for one man, Matt Le Tissier. Every time we went forward, the ball ended up at his feet, and defenders just didn't know what to do with him. And on 62 minutes, the inevitable happened, and Le Tissier scored a goal. And Andy Cole rescued us, 72 minutes, gets to an equaliser. Then Matt Le Tissier scores, I think even now, when they do goal of the month and goal of the season, this is one of the ones they replay. He just took us apart and ended up by lobbing the goalkeeper. It was a brilliant goal. 2-1 to Southampton, and all on the back of one player. Our team was unchanged. But that was matterless. It all revolved around one man. Referee again, Philip Dunn, another character who's a referee that people knew in those days, where sometimes they were totally anonymous, but not Philip Dunn. The Southampton team had lots of stars. Tim Flowers in goal, Kevin Moore, Steve Wood, Paul Allen, Neil Madison, and of course Paul Allen, the brother of the Malcolm that plays for us, and Matt Le Tissier. And Ian Dowie is a name that we know as well, because he good mate of Shearer's, and in Shearer's brief tenure as manager, Dowie was his assistant. And people expected something out of this game, and they were very disappointed that we didn't. But as I say, all down to one man. We're getting supporters getting a bit twitchy, because we're not pushing where we should be. We're hovering around the middle of the league, and people expect we to be that little bit higher. Anyway, we League Cup third round, and we go to Wimbledon, and the crazy lot, or crazy gang as they call them, Keegan sends an unchanged team, which is great. 11,500 at Selhurst Park, which is where they're playing at the moment because of the developments at their ground. And 23 minutes, Warren Barton, no less, for Wimbledon, scores the opening goal. He is part of a star-studded team. Sagers in goal, Warren Barton, Brian McAllister, Alan Kimball, Robbie Earle, Vinnie Jones, Andy Clark, John Fashanu, and Dean Holdsworth, a dangerous group of players. Anyway, Warren Barton scores the first goal on 23 minutes. Scott Sellers gets a free kick and slots that home on 28. So we go in 1-1. And it looks like we'd get a 1-1 until somebody hails to mark Dean Holdsworth for a corner, and bang, it's 2-1. And that's the way it stayed. Despite we having a go, we couldn't get the equaliser or anything with it. So next is of course, it would be typical Newcastle. We get drawn with Wimbledon in the Cup, and then we play Wimbledon in the league. And it's a home game against Wimbledon. And Keegan fields an unchanged team. 34,000 at the game. And everybody's hoping that we will wake up having just had the match at Wimbledon, and wake up they did. It was superb display with Peter Beardsley on 36 minutes, Andy Cole on 60, Beardsley on 63, Beardsley on 71. So Beardsley hat-trick and Andy Cole getting the fourth. So go out 4-0 winners against a team which was exactly the same as we played at down at Selhurst Park, but didn't perform that well. We just took them apart basically, and they were never in it. So a good 4-0 victory, and we're now into the top half of the league. We're ninth. So we're now in the top, as I say, in the top half of the league, and we're off to Oldham. Now Oldham are Cinderella team, really. People are struggling to see how they managed to get to the Premiership, but they did on merit, on football. And so we go to Boundary Park, and 13,800 at the game, and people are hoping that we might get a result here. So Oldham are struggling in the wrong end of the table, and we're at least trying to go up. And Oldham team, Joe Royals, the manager, the ex-Everton and England centre forward, and got some stylish players, but people who are on their way down rather than up. The big one, the big name, of course, is Graham Sharp, who used to play with Joe Royal at Everton as a Scottish centre forward. Entertaining game, but we leave Richard Johnson unmarked, and he manages to make it 1-0 for Oldham, and that's how we go in at half time. But we shouldn't be. We'd had enough attempts to get this lead in this game already. But after half time, didn't need much invitation, because on 53 minutes, Andy Cole, 73 minutes, Peter Beardsley, and 81 minutes, Andy Cole. And we secure a 3-1 victory, which takes us up to ninth in the league. Another referee worth remembering, Roger Gifford, a Welshman, who used to be one of the ones that like to have something to say, which, as I say, I found quite refreshing, but of course it got them in a serious bother. So we're now looking to a home game against Liverpool, and it's great anticipation. Always games that excite the Gallagher corner. 37,000 at the game, and reflected by the team, by who were playing, really, I think. And it looks well. It's unbelievable in many ways. Liverpool just left their boots in the dressing room, because within 5 minutes, Andy Cole's got with 1 up. 16 minutes, he's got with 2 up. And 30 minutes, he's got with 3 up. So going at half-time 3-0 against Liverpool is no mean feat. And especially as their team star-studded. It's Grobbelaar on goal, Steve Nicol, Steve Harkness, Reza Ruddock, Nigel Clough, Paul Stewart, Jamie Redknapp, Dominic Matteo, Ian Rush, and Robbie Fowler. Still quite a team, and yet we dispatched them, to put it mildly. But it was over by half time. After the second half, Liverpool tried to come into it, but it wasn't going to happen. And their manager, of course, at that time was none other than Graham Souness, so we got to know quite well. So that's good. We're now not just in the middle of the league. We're heading towards the top 6, and we have a home game against Sheffield United next. And I think everybody, certainly in the Gallagher corner, was hoping, well, we capitalise on that Liverpool victory, we could be well up the league. So Sheffield come, and we're onto them straight away. So we describe it. The first goal is unchanged team, by the way, for Newcastle. Just Mike Cooper still in goal. 36,000 at the game, and 9 minutes, and Sheffield defender Ward, frightened to death by Peter Beardsley, I think, because he could see Beardsley was going to slot it in. He stuck a foot out and deflected the ball past their goalkeeper, and gave us 1-0 on an own goal. Then 12 minutes, we got a penalty. Cole brought down, and Beardsley slotted penalty home. Then after half time, it's our game. 73 minutes, another penalty, and Beardsley gets his second. And on 80 minutes, Andy Cole makes it 4. Sheffield never really in the game. It was our game, and we took it nicely, and pushed us up to 4th in the league, which was nice. Sheffield team was some dangerous players in. Bobby Davidson, the bought from Derby, a dangerous Scottish forward. Dane Whitehouse and Mitch Ward, all tidy players. And in defence, Carl Bradshaw. And in goal, Alan Kelly, one of the Kelly family that were all goalkeepers, and some of them who passed through our hands as well. So 4-0 against Sheffield, and that puts us, as I say, into 4th position in the league, which gives everybody a big lift. We're now heading to Arsenal. We're going to Highbury. Keegan, unchanged team. Mike Cooper still in goal. 37,000 at Highbury. The unchanged team, as I say, and Scott Sellers now well and truly anchored in the side. And people are hopeful that we might at least get a point at this game, out of this game. It looked as though we might, but a certain Ian Wright on 16 minutes puts them 1-0 up. And we're still in the game, though. We don't give it away. We keep pressing, but unfortunately, Alan Smith, the other centre forward, the other attacking player, scores on 60 minutes and makes it 2-0. However, not to be outdone, Peter Beardsley scores a solo goal on 61 to make it 2-1, and from then on, it's all Newcastle. But the only thing we can't do is get an equaliser or put the ball in the net. So we leave Highbury with a 2-1 defeat, but a creditable performance, just still the same. And now we're another away game in London at Tottenham at White Hart Lane, and having had the defeat at Arsenal, it made people wary about this one, but it was noticeable in the press though. Keegan's still upbeat about the team and what they were doing, and a good game at White Hart Lane, 31,000 at the match, and Keegan sends a unchanged side. Tottenham have Torsfeld in goal, Calderwood, Sol Campbell, Sedgley, Justin Edinburgh, Darren Anderton, dangerous attacking player, Mark Kasky, Mickey Hazard, Vinnie Samwards, and Nick Barnby, who they'd got from the Borough, of course. So a dangerous side, a good football side. And their manager was none other than Ozzy Ardiles, which, you'd expect to say the team managed to be playing football, because that's certainly what he tried to do with us. Anyway, 54 minutes, first half's 0-0, end-to-end, but nobody can put the ball in the net. Second half, 54 minutes, Peter Beardsley gives us the lead. And then the same Nick Barnby I've just talked about, with a penalty after Mickey Hazard was brought down in the box to make it 1-1. And then Peter Beardsley again, with almost the last kick of the game, makes it 2-1 to Newcastle. A very, very creditable and a very, very well-earned victory at White Hart Lane, and puts us in the third spot in the Premiership, which is great for a side that's just been promoted. So we now come back to a home game against Manchester United, and they're really playing well at the moment. A team of all stars, and having had a go at them at Old Trafford, everybody thinks they should here. 37,000 at the game, and interestingly, a good picture, Steve Watson. Steve Watson's dad and I were in the same class at school, just as a sideline. Same team from Newcastle, except Keegan slots in Robbie Elliott because there's an injury at the Beresford. And a good game, end-to-end stuff. First half, both sides do everything but put the ball in the onion bag, and we go in 0-0 at half time. Not straight after, but 59 minutes. Paul Ince, dangerous midfielder for Manchester United, slots in a goal from a corner, and everybody thinks, oh, here we go. But with Andy Cole in your team, you're never dead. And on 71 minutes, he scores a really nice solo goal to give us the draw. And in what was an entertaining game, Manchester United team, just for record, Schmeichel, Paul Parker, Stephen Roger Bruce, Gary Pallister, ex-Borough man, Dennis Irwin, Ryan Giggs, Paul Ince, Brian McClare, Lee Sharp, and Eric Daniel Pierre Cantona. Oh, what a mouthful. And Mark Hughes. What a lineup, and yet we were able to match them toe-to-toe and get a good result out of it. Next game is Everton away, and be nice to get a point out of this one, everybody thinks. Well, same team from Keegan, and they're not interested in points. We go at Everton hammer and tongs from the kickoff, and on 14 minutes it's rewarded by Andy Cole slotting in the opener. We go in 1-0 at half time. and don't look like losing that 1-0. After the second half, again, the team just goes at Everton, gives them a real run around, and on 76th minute, Peter Beardsley makes it 2-0, and we go home with a famous victory from Goodison, 26,000 at the game, and of course Jimmy Gabriel was manager, but caretaker manager, because they just sacked the previous manager, and Everton in some sort of transition, so we met them on a good day, but still some players in of great stature, like Dave Watson, the centre half, Ian Snowden, Graham Stewart, who we've talked about before, Mark Ward, Tony Cotty, and Stuart Barlow. Still not a bad side, but on that day, it was Newcastle. It was us. We took the game deservedly and never looked like losing it, and it secures our place as fourth in the league. We're now to a home match with Leeds. Leeds pundits think should be up there challenging. They're never an easy team to beat. Keegan Field's an unchanged team, and 37,000 at the game, and it's a good game. It's another 0-0 at half time, end-to-end stuff. Both teams did everything but put the ball in the onion bag, and we went in 0-0. But an entertaining game. Then on 66 minutes, Cliff Fairclough, who got the accolade of being super sub when he was at Liverpool, because every time he came on, he seemed to score a goal. Well, he scored a goal here as well. 66 minutes, he puts Leeds in the lead. And it looks like that's how it's going to end until the one and only Andy Cole on 86 minutes decides he's had enough and races through the Leeds defence unopposed and slots the ball past the Leeds goalkeeper, who was Mark Beanie on the day. Great side at the time. Gary Kelly, Fairclough, Pemberton, Tony DeRigo, Hodge, Gary McAllister, Brian Dean, big centre forward, Noel Whelan, and Rod Wallace, all clever attacking players. But we got the 1-1 in the end, which probably satisfied Leeds as much as it did us. We're now away to Chelsea, and we hopeful that we might get something out of this game, but hope and Newcastle United don't always go together. And unchanged team, but two subs, Mark Robinson and Alex Matthew, have to be used fairly early on due to injuries, and 24,000 at the game. And it's not a bad game, but on 11 minutes, Mark Steen, their dangerous centre forward, who they got from Coventry, puts them in the lead. And that's it. Neither side looked like scoring after that. Tries we might, and we did try. There's no doubt about that. We couldn't get the ball past the Chelsea goal. And star team in many ways: Steve Clark, Frank Sinclair, Craig Burley, Gavin Peacock, who we get to know, Dennis Wise, who we get to know, Neil Shipperley and Mark Steen. A talented team. Anyway, 1-0 it stayed, and not a disgraceful loss by any means, but kept us fifth in the league and still hunting. Manchester City come to St James's Park next. Keegan plays an unchanged side, 36,000 at the game. And Manchester City, a talented team, being talked about as possible champions, if not this year, then certainly next year. I mean, or some great stars in the thing. Tony Corton in goal, big goalkeeper. David Brightwell, great attacking midfielder whose parents were Olympic athletes, of course. Steve Lomas, David Rocastle, Fitzroy Simpson, and Carl Schutt, who was a very dangerous forward. As I say, 36,000 at the game, and it's entertaining football match. If you were there, it was good stuff. And on 28 minutes, Andy Cole makes it 1-0, and then with the last kick of the half, same Andy Cole makes it 2-0. So we go in 2-0 against Manchester City. Second half, City come out and give it a go, but we resist, and it ends up 2-0 to us, which is secures our fourth place, which is wonderful. Next, we're off to Norwich City, and good football side, Norwich, Carrow Road, 20,000 at the game. The Norwich team has some good names: Brian Gunn in goal, Ian Butterworth, Rob Newman, Chris Sutton is a name that we know on TV now, Mark Bowen, Roel Fox, Gary Mexon, names that we get to know, and Ifan Ukuku, a very dangerous attacking player. A good side, and on 4 minutes, Mark Bowen puts them 1-0 in the lead, and it looks like that's how it's going to stay, because end-to-end it was, but still, initially it didn't look like we were going to do anything with it. Then on 21 minutes, Peter Beardsley produces some magic and dribbles through their defence and makes it 1-1. So half-time 1-1, and everybody's happy with that, but not Andy Cole. He's starting second half, he plays so much differently than the first. Every ball he got, you thought he was going to score. And on 79 minutes, he did. Newcastle go home 2-1 winners, and fixed firmly now with fourth spot in the Premiership, which people struggle to comprehend the fact that a promoted side could be in that position by this part of the season. So we're now at Coventry City in the third round of the FA Cup. They come to us in the third round of the FA Cup, and because Newcastle have a cup run, don't they? And the crowd shows that 37,000 for Coventry, and it's a good game, but Andy Cole on 21 minutes already puts it out of Coventry's reach, really, because they never look like scoring, although they're playing good football. And it stays like that till half-time. Second half, midway through, 76 minutes, Peter Beardsley makes it 2-0, and that's Newcastle through to the fourth round of the FA Cup, which sigh of relief in the Gallagher corner that we're making progress in both the cups at the moment. So we now have an away game in the league at QPR. And remember what they did to us at St James's Park. People were a bit nervous, but needn't have been too nervous, because on 4 minutes at Loftus Road, Lee Clark makes it 1-0. Gary Pearce equalises on 20 minutes. And it looks like we might be going 1-1, but Peter Beardsley on 62 minutes produces a piece of magic and makes it 2-1. And we never looked like losing that lead. We were always going to win that match. And 16,000 at the game. And that win puts us to the heady heights of third in the Premiership. And a sigh of relief by everybody, because they expected that Ferdinand and others would give us a great deal of difficulty in that match. Now Southampton at home. Now, remembering what Letitia did to us at the Dell, people were hoping, well, we'll knuckle them down this time. Same unchanged team from Keegan. Still Hooper in goal because of the injuries, and 33,000 at the game, which is nice for Southampton. Well, all going well until 5 minutes, and Neil Maddison makes it 1-0. And we're struggling. We're not at our best in this one. However, Andy Cole, 38 minutes, slots the one in. That's 1-1. And everybody thinks, oh well, we'll really have a go at them after the half-time whistle, and we did to a large extent, but never looked like scoring. But then, of course, when you've got somebody like Letitia in your team, he just sailed through our defence on 83 minutes and made it 2-1 to Southampton. And we never looked like we could recover that. Never looked like it. There was no backs to the wall stuff. They sailed through to a 2-1 victory, which was disappointing because it knocked us back down the league a little bit to 4th. While we were enjoying the heady heights of 3rd. Next game is Luton Town at St James's Park in the 4th round of the FA Cup. And we hoping to make progress. 33,000 at the game. Unchanged team from Keegan. And it's gone quite well. We're playing well. Good football game. But Tony Thorpe from Luton makes it 1-0 on 39 minutes. And we look like we're struggling to get the equaliser. Hammer away, run 76 minutes. Cole's brought down in their area, going for a ball, and Peter Beardsley scores the penalty, and it's a 1-1 draw. And that's how it stays to the end. We never looked like we would get a winner, and neither did they. So, 1-1 in the 4th round against Luton. So that means a replay. Luton's side is one or two interesting players. Anthony Thorpe, Kerry Dixon, ex-Chelsea, David Priest, Scott Oakes, ex-Manchester City. Dangerous players in that day, and worthy of a shout in the Premiership. But their 1-1 draw takes us to a replay at Kenilworth Road. 12,000 at the game, and Keegan sends an unchanged team, which is invariably what he does. We look like we should have a go at this one. So I say 12,500 at the game. Unchanged side. It looks promising until 16 minutes. Ex-Arsenal centre for John Hartson makes it 1-0 for Luton, and we're struggling to get into this game. And it looks like our FA Cup story is going to come to an end because we just can't get into it. And just as we think we are, Scott Oakes for them makes it 2-0. And there's no way after that we look like we're even going to get near scoring. And the teams that played were the teams that played in the first game. Not a change in either side, but 2-0 to Luton. And that's our FA Cup run at an end. So we're now away to Wimbledon in the league. We've seen a lot of that this season, and hoping that we might get something out of this game, but it's not to be. Wimbledon are on song on their own pitch at Selhurst Park, rather. 13,500 at the game. Robbie Earle on 9. Gary Blissett on 25. And then after half time, we get a bit of hope with Beardsley scores on 50 minutes rather. But John Fashanu makes it 3 on 56, and then Dean Holdsworth on 64 makes it 4, and it looks like a real 1,000. But just towards the end, Peter Beardsley gets a second, and it's another penalty, makes it 4-2. Looks a bit tidier, but still a disappointing defeat. We end up after that still in 4th place, but by the skin of our teeth. Warren Barton's still in their team, as are Vinnie Jones, John Fashanu, Dean Holdsworth. But the crazy gang overturned well and truly 4-2. And we're next away to Blackburn Rovers in the league. We want something out of this one because they're one of the challengers. And with Shearer and Gallagher and Ripley in the forward line are a dangerous side. And of course, in the midfield, they've got none other than a little lad called David Batty, who's someone we get to know very well. The game is a good game. 0-0 at half time, end-to-end stuff, but nobody can put it in the onion bag. Kenny Dalglish, their manager, of course. And things looked like we were going to go to a 0-0 draw. But then from a corner, their big centre-half, David May, manages a bullet header and puts it past Hooper, and we lose 1-0. And regrettably, that shows us down the league again to 5th, which is still quite creditable, but people were disappointed when we were actually up as high as 3rd. Coventry City at home next. Surely this is a team we can beat. They're not pulling up the trees by themselves. And Pavel's back in goal, Pavel Cernacek. Otherwise, it's an unchanged team. 22,000 at St James's Park. It's interesting how the crowd varies when it's been a run of bad results. And Coventry aren't the most exciting team, but anyway, 22,000 at the game. Well, it looked awful first half, 0-0, and it was an awful 0-0. Nobody looked like scoring, and the football was absolutely drab. So I don't know whether Keegan gave Andy Cole 3 Winterbix at half time, but he come out and he just run Coventry ragged. They couldn't hold him. 49 minutes, 70 minutes, 77 minutes. And then he lays on a fourth for Alex Matthew on 86 minutes. And we beat Coventry 4-0. And well and truly beat them. But all on the second half. First half was dreadful. But an Andy Cole second half gave us the 4-0 victory. And pushed us back up to 3rd place, which made the Gallagher corner very happy. So we're now away at Sheffield Wednesday. Now, having given them a tough time at St James's, we hope we can do it at Hillsborough. Keegan sends the same team with Cernacek back in goal and staying in goal. 33,500 at the game at Hillsborough. Paul Durkins, the referee, another character referee, and 0-0 at half time. It's a good game, but nobody looked like scoring. And then looked like it was petering out to a 0-0 result, but then Andy Cole, as he often did, all on his own, picks up a ball midway between the halfway line and the goal line, and just runs and runs and runs and runs right into the back of the net with the ball. Nobody could touch him. So at 88 minutes, with barely time to kick off, we've got a 1-0 victory, which is everybody's absolutely delighted about. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, got its characters. Trevor Francis is the manager now, the first £1 million player, and Pressman in goal, Des Walker at centre back, Carlton Palmer at alongside him, Andy Sinton, Gordon Watson, and Mark Bright. Gordon Watson, a talented player who's getting injury curbed his career when he could have been an absolutely star for his team and for England as well. So we're now back home to Swindon. Now Swindon are struggling. We shouldn't have any difficulty with Swindon, and we don't. It's one of those games from the start. You know, it's going to go your way. We get a penalty in 12 minutes, and Peter Beardsley slots that away. 18 minutes, Rob Lee puts a screamer in, and then after half time, 67 minutes, Rob Lee puts another one in. Another penalty for Beardsley on 70 minutes. Steve Watson on 76 and 79, can't believe his luck. Left unmarked twice on corners and scored 2. And then Ruel Fox on 84 makes it 7 to us. In between on 77 minutes, John Moncur for them slots in a consolation. 7-1 victory, which fixes us firmly at third, which pleases everybody in the Gallagher corner. We now go to West Ham with some trepidation because they've been playing well and always a hard team to beat at Upton Park, the bowling ground as they call it nowadays. 23,000 at the game. And they've got their usual range of stars with Lee Chapman, Trevor Morley rather, Mick Marsh, Ian Bishop, all very, very dangerous players. Keegan sends a unchanged team to West Ham, and it's a good football game. And on 34 minutes, Rob Lee cracker makes it 1-0. 56, Tim Breaker scores and makes it 1-1. Then 69, Andy Cole scores. 72, Rob Lee scores. Alvin Martin, 81 for them. And then Alex Matthew, 89 for us. 4-2, and there was never ever going to be any change to that. We controlled the game even before that, but certainly after it, there was no backs to the wall stuff. It was definitely our game, and keeps us nicely sat in third place in the league. We're now at home to Ipswich Town, and we beat them at their pitch, and we hope we beat them at St James's. 33,000 in the crowd to an unchanged team, with a good feeling about this game. I remember being in the Gallagher corner and thinking that this is one we should win. Scott Sellers on 37 minutes gives with a lead, and we go in 1-0 at half time, and we're not in any trouble with that. But 1-0 is always a dangerous score. But Andy Cole on 77 minutes makes it 2-0. Ipswich never looked like scoring. Played some decent football, but never going to trouble were really. Their side, some stars of yesteryear mostly. Phil Whelan, Paul Mason, Mick Stockwell from Wolves, John Walk, and Chris Coombe, dangerous attacking players. 32,000 and a half at St James's for Ipswich is not bad, but it reflects, I think, the fact that people now see us as getting involved with the top, because we're third, we're fixed third. We're not up and down like a yo-yo. We're really look like we're doing things. And with a home game against Norwich next, everybody's hoping that this win would really cement things for it. And Norwich come, and it's a good day for football, right? My memory serves me right. And they meet a unchanged Newcastle side, 33,000 in the ground at St James's, and another referee, Terry Holbrook, who used to get into trouble for saying too much, and we just it's a how can you say, not an easy victory, but not a one that we're ever going to lose. Norwich weren't running us around. So our unchanged team served us well. In Norwich, well, they came with John Deehan as their manager now, ex-West Ham player, and their team with Gunn, Culverhouse, Neil Adams, Mark Bourne, Ian Cook, Gary Megson, here we go, Jeremy Goss, and Darren Eady, all dangerous players on the day, but not this day. Andy Cole 37, Rob Lee 50, and Peter Beardsley 70, and we got a 3-0 victory, which keeps us nicely fixed in third place in the league. Next game is a tough one, away to Leeds United. Never easy, however Leeds are playing. And Howard Wilkinson's their manager now. Remarkable how some of these characters have stayed around management in football for many, many years. Howard Wilkinson, with a talented Leeds side, and which has in it none other than a young man called Gary Speed, who they've just brought into the side, and with alongside Tony DeRigo, Gally McAllister, and Gordon Strachan, their midfield is strong. Up front, Brian Deal and Rod Wallace, very dangerous. So 41,000 at the game, and it's a good game, end-to-end stuff. And the pressure's taken off Newcastle by none other than a young man called Andy Cole, because on 3 minutes he makes it 1-0 to Newcastle United, and it's going well, and we're looks like a famous victory all the way until Leeds bring on that man called Super Sub Chris Fairclough, and bang, on 89 minutes, last kick of the game almost, he makes it 1-1. There isn't time hardly to restart for give him a chance to counter that, but even so, 1-1 at Leeds at any time is not a bad result, but would have been nice to have got one over them. So we now head back to St James's Park for a home game against Chelsea. Talented Chelsea side who are up there with us, fighting for the positions that matter. Unchanged team from Keegan. Changes, the only things he changed are the substitutes. And 33,000 at the game. And entertaining game, good football. Both teams hitting the woodwork. But nobody could actually stick it in the bag. Glenn Hoddle now, Chelsea manager. Talented side, Steve Clark, Malky Donaghy, Frank Sinclair, Craig Burley, Nigel Spackman, Dennis Wise, John Spencer, and Tony Cascarino, big centre forward who caused lots of trouble. But despite all that talent, and our talent as well, nobody looked like they were going to score, and they didn't. It ended up in a 0-0 victory, a 0-0 draw, which did us. It kept us in third place, didn't damage our league position, and we look forward to an away match at Manchester City. Always a tough place to go, but the way we're playing, we must be in with a shout. And unchanged team, Keegan sends, and Manchester City with all their stars, Andy Dibble in goal, and Andy Hill, Keith Curl, who's had a few managerial jobs in recent years. In fact, he was at Carlisle just last season. David Brightwell, Steve Mahon, who they brought from Liverpool, David Rocastle they got from Arsenal, and Peter Biegri from Forest, and Uwe Rossler, a dangerous German centre forward, and Paul Walsh, Very, very tricky midfielder who could also score a goal or two. 33,700 at the game at Main Road. And it's a good game, a proper end-to-end Premiership game. And it's looking good. Scott Sellers with a free kick on 19 minutes and we go 1-0. Paul Walsh, who I just talked about, 33 minutes gets an equaliser from a corner. And then just after half-time, David Brightwall with a screamer from outside the box makes it 2-1 to City. End-to-end stuff, and we tried, but we just couldn't get an equaliser in that game. And we lose 2-1, but it isn't such a bad defeat. And we retain our third position in the league. Next game, we're away to Liverpool at Anfield. And daunting place to go at any time. And the Liverpool team, well, Roy Evans is manager now. 45,000 at the game. David James, Rob Jones, Julian Dix, Steve Nicol, who they bought from West Ham, Steve Nicol, Razor Ruddock, John Barnes, Ronnie Whelan, Jamie Redknapp, Steve McManaman, and Ian Rush. What a team of talents! And on the attacking alongside Rush, Robbie Fowler. That's a star-studded team that would give anybody a game. But did it phase our team or phase our manager? No, it didn't. We went to Anfield and had a go, and the lesson is that they weren't ready for it. Rob Lee on 3 minutes, a crack of a goal, a free kick, and then backs the wall a bit when Liverpool come back into it, and then on 56 minutes. Andy Cole sails through their defence like he had a habit of doing for other teams and walks the ball into the net at the finish to give with 2-0. And that's how it stayed to the end. And despite the huffing and the puffing that Liverpool did, we never looked like losing that. That was a great victory. So we're sitting firmly third now. And even looking up rather than back and thinking, well, could it be second? Could it be more? So we're home to Oldham next. A team we should beat because they're struggling. However, things in the Premiership are never that easy. Start off great. Raoul Fox on 19 minutes gives with the lead. And then just before half-time, Richard Jobson, the dangerous Oldham centre-forward, makes it 1-1. And then Peter Beardsley on 56 makes it 2-1. Then Graham Sharp, their dangerous Scottish centre-forward, on 57 makes it 2-2. And then on 63 minutes, with a screamer from outside the box, Rob Lee makes it 3-2. And you think, well, that's the end of it. Well, it was in terms of score. Oldham didn't die. They kept hammering away, and 33,000 went home, heaving a sigh of relief that we got the points and the 3-2 victory. But an entertaining game from a side, well, fairy tale side, really. Lots of people didn't think they should be where they were, but they were there on merit. They played the football and got into the Premiership. So we're now running to the end of the season. If we can get decent victories from now to the end of the season, it might not be third's the only place we end up. So the next game's at home against Aston Villa, and 33,000 at the game. Games against Villa are always entertaining. Well, this one's entertaining, but it's entertaining for the wrong reasons for Villa, because they score on 10 minutes. Paul Bracewood equalises on 15. And then Peter Beardsley on 23 puts us ahead with a penalty. Andy Cole on 41. We go in 3-1 at half-time. Beardsley with another pen on 66. Then Scott Sellers with a free kick on 79. And we beat Villa 5-1. Well and truly beat Villa. They were a beaten side on that day. But our unchanged team did exactly what Kevin Keegan wanted from them, to keep it in third and give it a sniff of going even higher. Next game's an away game at Sheffield United. Now, to win this one, and win the next one, and would be second. We wouldn't be third, we'd be second. Well, unfortunately, Sheffield United were waiting for one, ambushed. It was 0-0 at half time, but a dreadful 0-0, very boring. 30,000 at the game. Sheffield United with new centre forward Nathan Blake, a West Indian centre forward, dangerous player, and he 63 minutes he scored, and in the last kick of the game he scored again to make it 2-0 to Sheffield. We never really looked like winning this game, even though we really wanted to. But it was a decent game. We got 2-0. wasn't a disaster, but it meant that our chances of being second rather than third were very, very slowly sliding away. And the last game is Arsenal, and pride's in this one more than anything, because it's not going to change our position, and pride works out because we take it to the Arsenal. Andy Cole on 46 minutes, Peter Beardsley on 66 minutes, and it's a 2-0 victory. First half was 0-0, but a decent football game with 33,000 in the ground, and Keegan playing his unchanged team, and Arsenal with their all-stars, Lee Dixon, Nigel Winterburn, Steve Bold, Tony Adams, Ian Wright, Eddie McGoldrick, Alan Smith, Steve Morrow, and Ian Selly. A really star-studded team with names that still hang around now that people remember, particularly Ian Wright, of course, and who's Shearer's mate on the telly, and Tony Adams, and Lee Dixon and Nigel Winterburn, who we see quite often on various channels. For a good 2-0 victory over Arsenal to end the regular season and fix our place in third, which I think even the most anti-Newcastle pundits had to swallow their pride and say, well, third for a promoted side was a good shout, and it was. There was one other game, typical Newcastle, never ends like that. A Northern Ireland select team played us, or we went and played them at Windsor Park in Belfast. And I looked at this and I thought, what the devil are doing that for? Well, I realised it was Billy Bingham's testimonial. Now, Billy Bingham, a real football man, real servant to football. And what a compliment to have an ex-Mackham ask Newcastle United to go to play in his testimonial. That surprised me. But I gather he although he never played for us, he always had a soft spot for St James's Park and Newcastle United. So we went and played the Northern Ireland select team. And select team it is, with Billy Bingham himself managing. Steve Lomas, Stephen Morrow, Patterson, Paul McGibbon, Keith Rowlands, Keith Gillespie in the Northern Ireland team, Mal Donaghy, David McCreary in the Northern Ireland select team, and Jerry Armstrong, their centre forward that did so much in the World Cup for them. 8,000 turned up at Windsor Park, and for a football man, I'm delighted it is. So, third place in my first season in the Premiership, and I don't think that's bad. I think it was quite good. And people are fastened onto this Keegan mantra. If they score 3, we score 4. Exciting times to come, I think, is how to describe it.
Great stuff, George. Thanks for your research. Thanks for your show, mate. Look forward to the next one. Until the next, those were the days. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching, everybody.